Hello, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Great. So let's get it going then.
Let's do it.
Okay. So hey everyone, welcome to this space. I'm Dimitri, co-founder of Satoshi Club, and today we are diving into the future of crypto in the US. Because let's face it, America's crypto scene is evolving from the wild west, right, to something a bit more, so to say, civilized. And who's better to guide us through this frontier other than Haider Rafik? Hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, CMO of OKX. So, Haider, thanks for joining us bright and early. For those who don't know, OKX is one of the world's top crypto exchanges, powering everything from spot trading to cutting edge Web3 tools. They're all about making crypto accessible, right? Secure, and why not, fun. Heather's been leading killer marketing campaigns like that McLaren partnership that has us all dreaming of racing to the moon on a Bitcoin fueled F1 car. So, Heather, kick us off. How's your morning going? Ready to predict the future about a crystal ball? Or should I say blockchain oracle?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is hopefully this will be fun. My morning is great. I think between the last 24 hours, like most of us, we're just looking at the price and celebrating. And that's what I've been doing. Is the first thing I did, unfortunately, is I looked at the Bitcoin price, and it was a pleasant surprise to see it at 118,000. So, congratulations to everyone here who's been hodling for years, like I have.
Indeed, such a great day to have the space. All of us have a good mood, right? So this is the best time to speak, to talk about crypto things. How do you celebrate, by the way? Champagne or something non-alcoholic?
Something non-alcoholic. I think my champagne is coffee, so I can't wait to go drive and to the coffee shop and get my favorite coffee.
That is awesome. Coffee is also very good. So, all
Yes.
right, Heather, let's start with the basics maybe, but make it exciting. So, OKX has been on fire lately, not only lately, but especially lately, let's say, from partnering with Circle to boost USDC liquidity globally to listing hot new tokens like Pump ahead of its massive sale and even launching BTC Yield for VIPs. So, what's the latest scoop from OKX headquarters? What has OKX been up to lately?
Um, so I think there are a couple of things that we are focused on. Frankly, it feels like we're more heads down than looking and announcing things. I think there has been the Circle announcement, like you mentioned, and others, but mostly the company has been just heads down working on new things. And I'll give you guys a teaser. We are looking to announce a few new features probably around tail end of August. They're going to be mostly on chain Web3 features. So that's what the team internally has been working on. Besides the product stuff, I think our business teams are really focused on Europe and the United States. So in Europe, we are one of the first few exchanges to have the MiCA license that allows us to serve Europeans. And the team has been working on refining the product the last few months. So there's a lot of work there still to be done, and we are getting customer feedback, and we're making sure that we're not only just fixing the things that are being highlighted, but trying to find opportunity where we can have a distinguished product. Same thing in the United States. I think it's been about 2 months since we did a soft launch here. We released our OKX Exchange app and also the OKX Web3 Wallet app. And same thing in the United States. We've been slowly rolling out new products. For example, recently we just launched our staking product. We've started to slowly roll that out. It's not available in California yet, so there's more work to be done, but those are the two regions we're really focused on as a business, is making sure our services can reach Americans and Europeans.
Yeah, if you allow me to mention as well that I would say the most, let's say, professional exchanges, the most capable one can manage to focus on US and Europe because of strict regulations, right? Smaller exchanges cannot do that. So that's why our top exchange you can focus on Europe and US with full
Yeah,
force.
I think the team. This goes to the credit goes have a CEO. His name is Harold. If you guys are on X, please follow him. Uh, the team under him that he's running, they've been doing a lot of great work to make sure we are among the first ones to come to Europe. But it's not that milestone that was so important to us. It's that we were getting a lot of inbound demand from Europeans who've seen us on the back of McLaren. They've seen us, at Man City matches, and they've heard about us or they've experienced us in one way or the other, and they wanted us to be in Europe and to give them a new alternative. So it's been quite exciting.
Yeah, just a bit to dive in the Europe thing, if you're okay with that. I'm
Of
from
course.
Europe, so I'm curious. So do you what's the plan, the strategy in Europe? Do you want to focus on certain regions or Europe as a whole? Like for example, for big countries like Eastern Europe, Central Europe, Southern Europe, special
Yeah.
campaigns for those regions?
There are. So I think Eastern Europe, we have been quite active the last 2 years. So I think that's been the case and will continue to be the case because we have a lot of customers there. The rest of Europe, with Mika, we are now starting with passporting in some of the bigger markets. So you saw announcement around France and Poland and what have you that we did a few weeks ago. So the strategy in the rest of the Europe is we start with the bigger markets. We passport our Mika license there, so we're allowed to operate in those markets and serve our services. And then once we've captured the big markets and we are getting the recall from customers, we know our systems are working well. The onboarding piece is working well, connecting to bank accounts is working well, order execution is working well. The ability to go from the centralized exchange to our Web3 ecosystem is working well. That's when we will start to then scale our campaigns to smaller markets.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we zoom out a bit, the crypto story in the US has been a roller coaster. Predictions are wild. Some say Bitcoin could hit 150K by the year end, but hey, even by the end of this month, maybe, yeah. So ETH, Solana, XRP, and others leading the charge. What's your take on the next chapter? Are we heading to the full-blown bull run in 2025, or is it more about steady, boring, what profitable, maybe adoption? So, what does the next chapter for crypto look like?
Look, anything I share in regards to this question is not financial advice. It's my personal opinion, not one that reflects OKX's opinion. I think my feeling is that there's a lot of energy behind Bitcoin, and there's a lot of interest building up around this asset in the United States. So my personal feeling is that people during the summer are paying attention to the Fed rate cuts that are anticipated. They're paying attention to the stock market. Typically in the United States, equities markets are quite dry during the summer, but you can see that this year they're in fact quite active, and traders are quite active. So I think a couple of these, indicators could lead to a price run up for Bitcoin. I think it's possible, and that's what I'm paying attention to. Is do the Feds cut their interest rates? If they do, what happens to the Bitcoin price? Do people react? Because then you have consumers in the United States. They have increased buying power or increased buying confidence, and they're going to take some of that value that perhaps they get back from lower interest rates to then say, what do we invest into? And there is a heavier allocation from retail on the equity side. There's still a lot of room for retail, normies, people who are outside of crypto, to say, maybe this is a good time for me to add Bitcoin to my portfolio. It's never been easier to add Bitcoin to your portfolio in the United States. You can do that through, the traditional crypto services, but you can also now do that through the ETF vehicles that are available. So I think I'm anticipating that by the end, the way the energy around Bitcoin is right now, it feels like we're going to see a run up during the months of summer. And boy, oh boy, I think the end of the year could be very exciting. I think I wouldn't put it past us that we could be seeing a 200K, 250K price point by the end of the year.
Ooh, let's see that. Do you agree with analysts, I've seen a lot of companies like big banks as well, like from US, saying that this time is different. We are out of the 4 year cycle, and they argue because we see tons and tons of money inflow from ETFs and from private companies who add Bitcoin to their treasuries. So we are out of that cycle. We are not dependent so much on the retail and its fluctuations in investing and getting the capital out. So what are they saying? Basically, we will not have these big fluctuations and big bear markets like we had before. Do you agree with that?
I do agree with that, and I think the behavior around Bitcoin is for most retail, at least when I speak to my friends or peers, I think there's a very small percentage of us who likes to trade Bitcoin position out for something else. I think with Bitcoin that this is the only crypto where most people, most of us are in the business of accumulation. Nobody really wants to sell it. So you look at, wallet addresses holding Bitcoin for more than a year or around a year, you can see that most of the people are just holding it. And then when institutions are buying it, they're buying it for a long-term position. They're not doing short-term trading either. So I think it's really interesting. And when most people are not selling it and the supply is shrinking, what happens to the price? It's, basic economics.
Yeah, totally agree. So let's talk about a bit OKX. So I love OKX mild West campaign. It's like crypto grew up a bit, put on a suit, but kept the cowboy hat for fun. So how is OKX leading this shift from regulatory compliance to user-friendly tools? What's making crypto, let's say, less chaotic and more smooth sailing? So how is basically OKX driving crypto from the wild west into the mild west?
A couple of ways. So, first is we believe in a world where I think regulations are here. And in markets where regulations are not there yet, I think it's a matter of time where they will be pressured into having a regulatory framework. So, the idea that we're going to have offshore markets in the future, 5 years from now, I really struggle to see that there's going to be any meaningful market that's offshore. Definitely on a 10-year span, I think there probably is no offshore market. I think every market gets regulated. Now, naturally, there will be some small markets here and there that may, remain unlicensed or self-governed, but for most part, that's the case. So I think when you think about crypto being stable or our industry becoming more stable and legitimized, licensing and regulations and compliance is a very important part of that. I think that's number one. Number two is I think consumers, retail, developers, founders, I think everyone's getting a little more mature in our industry. So you look at the early days of crypto, I think there was a lot of speculative stuff that would get launched. The utility would be questionable or unclear. And now you look at the stuff that is being launched, there's a lot more clarity in what those founders, developers, early teams are looking to achieve. And I think that's a second signal that we're moving towards, crypto becoming slowly the Mile West. The third piece is the integrations with traditional finance, whether it's payment apps, whether it's banking rails, whether it's connecting with market makers and even things like ETFs or what have you. So I think the integration with TradeFi gives me the third signal that we are again moving towards crypto becoming more stable and mild. The things that are continuing to keep us on the wild west is this overall consumer behavior that has carried on since 5 years ago. I think uh, our early crypto community, a lot of people benefited from the rise of 3,000, 1,000 to 3,000% increase in early crypto tokens. A lot of people made money, and that desire to have such returns is still within our community, and it oftentimes leads to reckless behavior and people losing money or having rug pulls or snipers or what have you. And I think that part, whether it's OKX or other exchanges or founders, developers, we need to stand up and reject that behavior and not fall for those traps and actually educate consumers and retail investors that we should get away from that and really think about our investment or trading journey over a long period of time. When you look at it at a longer horizon, you take away some of that anxiety of I gotta make money on this position, I gotta see 100x return or 1,000x return. Some of those opportunities will still exist, but I think we need to educate people to get away from some of that addictive behavior. I think it's really important. The second one I would point out to you is I think um, almost all media, not just crypto, but especially in crypto, I think there's some media that still feels like it's in the business of putting crypto down versus building it up. And I really question why, some of those people are in our industry. Like it sounds like they just hate crypto or they hate people who are building in it. And I see a lot of reckless journalism in our industry where something is uh, covered incorrectly. It leads to misinformation in our industry, especially for, you look at an exchange like OKX. I've seen some articles recently, whether it's about Europe, or what have you, and you look at it, you look at the article and you're like, internally knowing the facts, it's untrue. And you can speak to that journalist and give them the information, but they still end up writing a clickbait article, bashing you and what have you. I think that behavior needs to be rooted out. My excitement around that is I think most of journalists will get replaced with AI. There will be, great editorial heads and what have you, but my hope is that that behavior gets fixed, whether it's through AI or people just like, they get into the business of building our industry, not bashing it down. So I think those are some of the examples of, what is taking our industry towards the mile west, or things that are still keeping us in the wild west.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And the journalist thing is not just about crypto being framed negatively. It's like they they I don't know. They want attention, they want impressions, and usually they get it from bad news, like big highlights. If you open just the normal simple news, you won't get like, oh, okay, a new highway was built or a
Yeah.
new building or a new university. No, they don't care about this. And someone was killed or someone was, this negative stories which drag attention. So this thing is happening in crypto as well. They're not telling you that OKX built something cool, but they will tell you that a hacker stole $1 million from somewhere, right?
100%. And they won't tell you that, they'll say they used OKX. The hacked funds went through OKX. Well, they didn't just go through OKX, they went through
Yeah,
any platform,
exactly.
and they'll misinterpret information to their benefit. So that's really frustrating. And I almost question, when I interact with those journalists, I'm like, why are they even working here? Like, it sounds like they're miserable. They should work on something they're more optimistic and excited about.
Yeah, and they'll say those sounds went through OKX, and then they will say Man City and McLaren are sponsored by OKX. How can they take their money, dirty money, right?
Exactly. Let's reflect back on the Bybit hack, right? The Bybit happened, and Ekram, the firm, reported that some of the funds they were indexing OKX wallet being used to route some of those funds. Well, the reality is actually that was never the case. OKX Web3 has a DEX terminal. Essentially, what we do is we connect into 100 plus liquidity pools and other DEXs like Uni and what have you. So the purpose our terminal serves is that when you come in and you place an order, we go, and our smart smart price matching system looks and scrubs different dexes to execute the order across as many dexes as it needs to deliver the best price for you. Okay. That doesn't mean that we're executing the order, the final order. It's actually being executed at that final destination exchange. We're almost like a terminal, so to speak. I think the fact that most journalists don't understand this, who covered that news and said, oh, it actually went through OKX, which was complete misinformation, ended up hurting us, and ultimately ended up hurting Europeans, because we were asked to, pause our DEX terminal services for, I think, a couple of months. Who did that help? You know, so I think it's instances like that that can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, totally agree. So I know we talked about at least a bit about some crypto philosophy. I would say I would call that, but let's get even more visionary. So in the next decade, crypto could be as common as your morning coffee, right? That you love in the back of the corner. From spot Bitcoin ETFs pulling tons of money, companies taking BTC like strategy. How this changed daily life, like payments, investments, even voting on blockchain. How do you see crypto shaping the lives of everyday Americans, especially and not only in the next 10 years, let's say?
Yeah, I think today I see very little urgency in the United States to for consumers to consider crypto beyond just like say buying Bitcoin, buying Solana, adding it to their portfolio or trading it. Then there's a very small percentage of people in the United States who are familiar and comfortable with staking. And these are, people who've been in investors of crypto for many years, so they have the comfort of the systems and the user experience. So beyond that, in the United States, your banking for most part works. I have, I use a traditional bank, right? And it doesn't bother me. Yes, I do pay fees. I don't like that. Yes, when I want to send, I was trying to send $20,000 to a family member last night, and I have a limit of $5,000, which is kind of annoying because then I have to wait every 24 hours to be able to send 5,000 until it's 20K. So there, but you can still sort of survive, and you're fine with it. It's not that urgent for you to go into crypto to solve your problems. I think where I could see crypto utility in the United States becoming more of a reality is you look at sort of the merchant consumer relationship and the settlement around it. Right now, there are a lot of small businesses in the United States who have to wait almost 30 days for the transactions, customer transactions to settle and for them to receive the funds. Can you imagine 30 days? You buy coffee and the coffee shop owner doesn't get the value that I gave them for the coffee they served for about 30 some days. They can't do anything. They can't deploy that capital they're earning instantly. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit is can we bring on-chain payments to the United States? Can there be like a Venmo like platform that or a Square like platform that merchants can adopt, consumers can use, consumers use stablecoin like a USDT or USDC, and now merchants are happy, they get their liquidity fast. Consumers can continue to use their digital wallets, and younger people will of course adapt that faster than the older generations. But I see that as being the first use case that perhaps could become mainstream. Now, also in the United States, the SEC chair, Paul Atkins, explicitly talked about self custody recently. He said something like, don't quote me, but I think it was something like, crypto assets should be a fundamental American right, and self custody. The right to have self custody of one's property is a foundational American value. Something along the lines of that. Um, I think if if people can get comfortable with self custody user experience, the idea that you would not put all your money in your bank account, in a savings account, in a CD, and put it in a crypto wallet and let it earn yield on chain, I think is also another big massive opportunity. But it being honest with ourselves, I at least think, having been in the industry, the user experience on the self custody side is not ready. We're attempting some stuff with OKX Pay. We recently launched that in the offshore markets. It's going to start to make it in the onshore markets. It's a hybrid custody model, and we think that could be one way to solve the user experience issue. But I think self custody is a big opportunity, and payments is a big opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. I would like even to add a couple of things, but I got a message that we have to start wrapping it up slowly in a few minutes. So maybe you just try to cover some more questions about OKX. Um, I would ask. what features have you buzzing, like perpetual futures for new tokens, or what upgrades? What's one thing I would say everyday user should try right now to level up their crypto game in OKX?
I think definitely download our Web3 wallet and do a couple of things. One is, I think, create multiple wallet addresses and get comfortable with it. I think on OKX, you can create up to 100 wallet addresses in a few clicks. For people who have a lot of crypto, I think that's really useful. People who are traders and go in and out of different positions and different wallets, I think that's a really important feature. I urge people to get comfortable with it. And if you're new to crypto, definitely like organize your wallet addresses between different apps, so that, say, if you're transferring money over from Coinbase to OKX, those wallet addresses are already saved, and in the future it's really easy for you to bring and send value from one wallet to another. I think that's really important. I think the second is our on-chain staking feature is quite cool, and I urge people to take a look at that. I sometimes get lazy and I have crypto on a wallet and it's not staking, and that's not good. So I think that's a really important feature people should be paying attention to. Those would be the two that I think I would highlight.
Yeah, that's absolutely very awesome insight from an alpha from you, Haider. I mean, I have so many topics on my mind to talk to you, but unfortunately, we are limited by time. So I hope maybe we can talk in another session in the next months, weeks or so. I don't know when you're free and I have time to discuss even more topics and in updates and news from OKX. But until now, maybe you have one last message, one last advice for our community who's listening to you right now.
My advice would be around prices in the crypto markets. Just be careful. When it's human nature that when something is going up, we tend to chase it. When something is down, we're not interested or less interested. I think it's counterintuitive to what we should be doing, even though the price is running up. Please be careful. Don't add more than what you can leverage. And what goes up also comes down. There's always a better buying opportunity. So I just want everyone to be careful out there.
Yeah, and DCA is the safest strategy, I think.
100%. I am DCAing on 3 different apps, and it takes that whole thinking away from me. I know I've been accumulating, so it doesn't matter to me if the price is 80,000 or 120,000.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for this. It was fast, but still thank you for joining this space, Heather. Thanks for your insights. We got all us bullish on crypto in the US as well. So everyone, don't forget to follow Heather and OKX account. Go register, download their wallet. Don't forget to follow us as well for more awesome spaces like this one. Thank you again, Heather, for joining, and until next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, and talk to you soon.
Yeah, stay safe and smart, trade smart.
Thank you.